there's absolutely improved cognitive functioning benefits associated with sauna, really strong ones. When you heat up the brain cells, they naturally produce brain-derived neurotropic factor. So it's like Miracle-Gro for the brain. I'm sure you're familiar with that. That's an immediate effect that happens in nerve cells based on a heat shock. But it's more than that. The heat shock proteins, and this is something I'd like to talk about for a minute because people are typically don't understand this or aware of this. Heat therapy and sauna therapy is not just about detox. That's only half of it. So basically you heat the cell up and it begins to produce heat shock proteins, which are dormant actors at a normal cellular temperature. When these things start to get produced by the nucleus, they go out and they chaperone immune bodies, which helps make cell detox more efficient. And that's the primary role that most people are aware of. They have a second role that I would call even just as primary, and that's protein refolding. So they go and correct misfolded proteins and optimize protein functioning by moving them around, refolding them, re-optimizing them. One example of that is the heat shock protein can go out of the cell and refold and re-optimize the insulin receptor protein, and thereby improve insulin signaling, which has been shown in a study now to reduce insulin resistance. So the sauna therapy, by activating this amazing healing response, the heat shock protein response in the cells, is absolutely not just correcting cell function, it's correcting the higher level hormonal system, an organ level system. And that's just one example of how essential sauna therapy is to reoptimization of cell function. And we talk about using neurotropics and improving cognitive functioning. We need to improve the cell function. We don't want to just get the junk and the poison out of the cell. We want to repair the damage of all the, that all the poison caused. And then for as amazing as sauna therapy is, it doesn't really have an anti-aging component. The gene repair component, it really comes from light therapy. So one of the big aspects of light therapy is that it regulates and it optimizes the transcription proteins and other gene transcription effects in the cell. So when the cell is making itself, it can't read its blueprint very well. And so the proteins are not made perfectly. They're made, but they're maybe a little bit folded wrong. And that slowly but surely leads to cell degradation. If any of you guys are in your audience have seen 3D like a model of a protein, it's this really complicated thing with all these ribbons and it looks like a big wad of tissue paper. You can imagine one misfolding makes it so it doesn't fit lock and key into its partner that it's supposed to work with in some cellular pathway. And it kind of works okay, but not so good. And then slowly but surely those proteins, as they de-optimize, for example, with the insulin receptor protein, you get decreased insulin signaling, increased insulin resistance, and that has a huge array of problems that causes down the road. So they're working synergistically together. So if there's so much overlap of benefit, why are we not doing the two together? Sauna therapy absolutely has a really strong cell reoptimizing and in cognition improving aspect, just like light therapy.
Yeah. You hit on so many amazing things right there, specifically in the idea that this cascading effect, right? Like we can start at the very tiny, teeny protein, right? And let's just take the insulin receptor, for instance, right? To be able to fix the way that your insulin receptors work. Okay, now you start to decrease insulin resistance. Okay, well, what does that do? Well, it starts to decrease your daytime cortisol. Well, what does that do? It starts to decrease your stress response. What does that do? That starts to decrease your anxiety, your depression, your inflammation. Yeah. And it's like, even though, you have these full body saunas, even just like one of those bulbs, right? Just hitting the parts of your body that it needs to hit, just even like getting just individual parts of your body, or if you get the whole body, you're good. It's such an intense cascading effect is what it sounds like, that the full body into the mental, it's just like a reciprocal reward system.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you talk about cascade. What I like to say about this is that like, let's step back and stop looking at the body as a biochemical system or a biomechanical system. We are much more bioelectric. We're quantum mechanical. The fundamental basis of everything in our body is electromagnetism and light and voltage. The blood flows down the arteries via voltage gradient. It's not a mechanical pump. There's not enough mechanical force to do that. It's actually a voltage gradient. The blood-brain barrier is a voltage gate. One of the most fundamental cell signaling systems of the body, calcium signaling, is controlled by voltage gates, which is a big reason why man-made, non-native electromagnetism, like man-made EMFs, are problematic. But it's also, I say that to inform our understanding that we're beings of light more than we are, we're not like chemically based. And so when we bring in this amazing hormetic stress therapy that is light therapy, that's also kind of simultaneously a nootropic and a nutrient, because it feeds us and gives us energy, but it also has this incredible force multiplier effect in the cells. It hits the mitochondria, and then all these systems ripple out and improve. And the same thing with the sauna therapy. And so it's just the holistic, or the secondary and holistic benefits of doing those things together and continuing to do them with discipline over time can really not be, can't be underestimated.